A thread by Gita Bushi. I've been thinking some things through. It takes time and encountering the right challenging ideas, I think, to realize some things. And I've realized, talked myself into, there's no reason to be scared for the future of our nation. There's reason to be excited. You see, Trump is an ass clown, but he's a smart ass clown. He's not smart as in being able to understand, explain, and expand on the theory of relativity. But he's smart in that he understands people, loves America, and saw that he could fix a bunch of things. And by America, Americans know what I mean. American exceptionalism, the American dream, the principles of our founders, individual liberty. Here's the thing. If you've been following me for very long at all, you know I have argued that the best way to understand modern politics is the division between the urge for rule and being ruled, governance, collective, and individual rights, governance. One of the things about rhinos, like Jeb and Marco, they actually believe in the rule and be ruled paradigm. They think most people can't take care of themselves, and the elite must keep them uninformed, compliant, and dependent, restricting their choice. Rhinos intend to be benevolent masters, explicitly more benevolent than the left, but they still intend to be masters. They intend to remain the elite, with their children guaranteed an elite lifestyle, etc. Just look at Chief Justice John Roberts. More and more, those of us embracing individual liberty, agency, and self-discipline, self-governance, have been silenced and marginalized. We must be, to get the United States to accept increasing helpings of socialism. But what Trump saw is that we are still here and that we needed a champion. And that's what he did. First, by going against the illegal alien narrative that was being shoved down our throat. And that's why he won the primary. I didn't see it. I only saw that he was an ass clown. I recently saw someone point out that the reason Trump is such an ass clown, such a coarse, abrasive jerk, is because he's the only one leading the charge for American values. He fights, is the phrase the rhinos and even former never-Trumpers mocked. But it's why he won. But, as many people have said, he's not the cause of our government incompetence and betrayal of the founding principles. He's the response by a free people. We might need to modify Jefferson's quote, make it, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with an ass clown president who fights." Because that's the thing. The left thinks they can get him thrown out by threats and intimidation, by cowing the grassroots who crave liberty. They're wrong. It just strengthens our resolve. Asshole rhinos think they can outweight him. They think if Trump is handed a sound defeat this November, the GOP will have no choice but to return to Jeb and Marco-style politicians, where decorum rules and ensures our liberty is eroded more slowly. They are miscalculating, just as they miscalculated in 2016. Selena Zito understood it, but I'm not sure she expressed it explicitly enough. If she did, no one understood it enough to make it the general understanding. Trump didn't lead anything. Trump tapped into what exists. Trump is the last chance the people of America are giving the government. You let him run his course. You let him accomplish the dismantling of leftist government, or you'll get worse than Trump. And here's the reasons I'm excited and confident. 1. The left is panicking. That's why they are rioting. This and the pandemic lockdowns are their attempt to break through the containment of the forces Trump represents. digression before I hit my final point. See, there is no scenario in which Trump loses and things go back to normal. If the left wins, the Liberty grassroots will feel even more betrayed and unrepresented. It increases the chance for violent resistance. And even more, if the left wins, they will go to extremes to reassert their dominance. They will accomplish several of their proposed policies. Endorse ending the Electoral College, establishing national popular vote, making the Senate proportional, making D.C. a state, mail-in voting. They will find ways to do it. An executive order that Congress won't challenge, Supreme Court ruling in their favor, states ignoring the Constitution, bureaucrats doing it regardless of what the law is. They will have to get retribution for 4 years of Trump. Their religion of progressivism assures them that human progress along their vision of rights is inevitable. They believe with religious fervor that the future of humanity is complete communism with zero bigotry, as they define bigotry. They don't understand basic human nature. But if they win, they will feel compelled to get things back on track. Not just back to where Obama had it at the end of his term, but where we'd be if Hillary had followed him. They are promising, if we elect Biden, the chaos will go away. In reality, it would be just the beginning. They will impose their will. There is no scenario in which Trump losing makes the U.S. stronger, more prosperous, and increases liberty. If Trump wins, becoming stronger, more prosperous, and increasing liberty isn't guaranteed. Trump winning is a necessary but not sufficient prerequisite. But here's the thing. Trump is merely the expression of what exists in America. And what do we see in the U.S.? This continues from the point 1. Many, many tweets earlier. 2. Blacks are abandoning the Democrat Party. Many who once embraced Democrat dependence on government are now embracing the risk of self-actualization. 3. Millions of first-time gun owners among lifelong Democrats. This is huge. Most will continue to vote Democrat, but purchasing a firearm is the recognition that you cannot depend on the government to protect you. It is the first step of personal responsibility. Those purchases are starting a metamorphosis in the hearts and minds of many of them. It will take time to run its course, but many of them are now inexorably on a path to embrace individual liberty and individual accountability. The hypocrisy of allowing Democrats to ignore COVID rules to riot, and for Democrat state funerals while not allowing normies to sing in church or attend family events, is going to have an impact on voting patterns. 5. Teachers' unions forcing private schools to not reopen and forcing people to keep their kids at home is certainly a happy people don't vote Democrat, hashtag HBDVD, move that spreads misery to keep people voting Democrat. But I think it will turn out to be an overreach. I think America has grown under Trump. By America, we mean everything that makes America more than just the United States, that makes America distinct from Canada, Mexico, even though they are North American nations. You know, individual liberty and the American dream. There are more Americans now. So I think Trump will win. If he doesn't win, I think we will reject the yoke of collectivism the left will try to place on us. Obviously, I prefer the first option. Of course, if Trump wins, the left will continue its violence and even expand it. If so, we will have violence either way. But I'd rather have the petulant, violent spasms of a dying ideology in a free nation than the desperate violence of a free people resisting tyranny. But either way, the best scenario for our nation, the best course for our nation is to vote for Trump and to vote GOP straight ticket in every location. You see, we need the GOP to be dominant. We need to hand Democrats defeat after defeat until they realize that socialism doesn't sell, that collectivism is a non-starter, that the conversation must be about how small government should be, not how big. We should be arguing about how much refined sugar is in our ice cream, not how much poop, if you understand my point. If the GOP gets a GOP president for 16 years, 2 consecutive two-term presidents, gets 80% of the governors in the nation and 2/3 or more of state legislatures, gets 60 votes in the Senate and 60% or even 2/3 majority in the House, then rhinos are defanged. Then we have the power to say, demand Planned Parenthood get defunded, and the space to identify primary or even let the Democrats defeat the GOP who stand in the way of necessary laws that restore liberty, restore rule of law, and restore constitutional governance. We are never going to end the tyranny of the Supreme Court's capricious rulings with a Democrat majority Congress, or even the small and temporary GOP majorities we've gotten in the past. The only way is with a massive GOP majority. If you use past GOP failures as a reason to not support the GOP, then you are the problem. Because you are giving the rhinos even more power than they already have. Rhinos already hold the GOP hostage. Planned Parenthood and Obamacare would have been repealed, except that John McCain acted like a scorned 14-year-old girl and stabbed the GOP in the back. And that caused many GOP voters to no longer support the GOP. That means that Rhino John McCain not only scuttled that important legislation, he got people who crave more liberty to vote in a way that decreased their liberty. The only way to eradicate the power that rhinos have to control GOP policy and to gratify Democrats is to have so many GOP that they are no longer the swing votes. There's a reason why there is always a seemingly solid conservative Supreme Court justice who becomes a swing vote. When their vote doesn't matter, they uphold the conservative ruling. It makes the ruling stronger or the opposition stronger. But when they are the key vote, the one who makes the difference, then the delusion of grandeur sets in, and they stop ruling according to the U.S. Constitution and start ruling according to their own conceits and preferences. First O'Connor, then stalwart conservative Kennedy, then the up-to-then stalwart conservative Roberts. The best way to make Roberts return to conservative? Put 1 or 2 more conservatives on the court. Seriously, if we want to get the GOP to return to upholding the conservative side, we need to have more of them, so that 1 to 3 rhino assholes can't hold the party hostage. I guarantee you, if the GOP gets supermajorities in all legislatures, including the SCOTUS legislature, and a death grip on the president's office, there will be fractures in the GOP along libertarian conservative lines. Voting libertarian ensures those conversations never happen at the government level. Voting GOP en masse lets us finally have those conversations. And so, the antidote for Trump is to actually vote for him. Seriously, this is human nature. Stop thinking about dignity or decorum or tradition and think about how humans really are. You'll see it then.